Hi again, and we've been talking about the exposure sheet, which is a spreadsheet for planning out animation shots. And let's just start a project. I'm not going to do any cell animation because that's very labor intensive, but we'll start with the exposure sheet and work with some audio, and that's the supported way with working with audio in Howler. So let's start by creating an animation. First, give it the number of frames you want, or the number of seconds you want, and the frames per second. I'm going to use 12 frames per second because that's common for animation. Now you'll see the animation controls. That can be either at the top or at the bottom. And there's a film strip there. We have control over the frames per second. There's a light table, or you might call it the onion skin, and the ability to add frames and delete them, and that kind of thing. Now let's go ahead and start with the exposure sheet. And before we do anything with this, we need to load a file or a sample into this, or a wave byte. If you don't have an audio editor, it comes with one built in, which you can see there, or we can just go ahead and load one. And we're ready to go. Now you can scrub through this.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
And that'll give you an idea of what we're doing. Now there's some other features here. There's drop-down menus. You can change the time from here, and you can change which set you want to. That's a sort of a cartoon representation of a little mouth shape, and we'll use that presently. I'm going to start with a closed shape, like this. And as we go into this,
Testing 1, 2.
We'll start adding these shapes. So I already know this says testing, so I'm going to use probably a T at the beginning of that. This is not a complete alphabet because phonemes don't work that way, but it gives you all the basic mouth shapes anyways that a phoneme would form. Testing, there's like an E shape. We use E for that. There's like an S in there, and an E, ing, or it could be like an N or an E. I'll go with a testing N shape there. 1. Now going into a 1, there's not like a W, or you could use a W like that. 1. I might go straight into an U shape like that, or a U shape like that. It would be more appropriate. I might go ahead and start with that W. 1, and then an O, 1, and 1. And there's like an N at the end of that. 1, 2. At the beginning of that, there's like a T shape. The T might be silent in this case. You want to like practice this with your mouth here as you say it. 1, 2. I don't think there's really much of a T shape in there. I'm going to go straight into the U, which is a U in this case.
2.
You just hold that for the entire length of that. And then there's a TH there, 3. And it probably starts a little bit earlier than that. We'll put it right there. Let's see, TH and E right there. I'm going to worry about the R, just 3. And pretty much hold it until the end. So as you scrub through this,
1, 2, 3, 2, 3.
You can pretty much see that in action. I can also play it in real time.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
And that looks pretty good. Just basically at this point you would want to save a copy of that. There's some other things you can do with that. Also, we can change the set to sketch instead of that cartoon shape.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3.
And you get the idea. All right, so now let's look at some of the other features that are in here, because there are some other things here. There's like zooming in and out, of course. That's very useful. But there's some other things. Well, what are these other things? There are these colors here. There's this like little pen here. Well, like I said, sometimes you want to plan a shot, and sometimes you need to plan out a motion, like an arm moves or a tail wags or something. And you can just basically select a color here, like yellow, and go in and just draw in a little shape there. That's doesn't have to be anything specific. It just, say you wanted a motion to start on frame 8 and end on frame 27, then you could just draw that in there. And that would be like how you would plan that particular motion. Now you can have motions overlap. Say there's also a tail wagging, and it starts at, say, frame 16, and it does its thing. And you can continue to overlap and say there's a head move like right there. And that's just a simple way to plan motions for a shot. And you can toggle on and off the visibility. Say you only want to look at one particular part of that. And of course you can, you can undo those also, and you can clear that. So basically that's just a convenient place to draw a little shape. It's there for your convenience. It's not really complicated. Now, while we're on the subject, you can look in the same area and you can see, just like in the spreadsheet down here, we put TESNWO NU and so on down here. You can see these same phonemes right across this little timeline here. So say you're working on an animation, you don't want the entire spreadsheet. You can just minimize it down like that. And you can still see what you're doing. And you can still read those letters and where you want those phonemes to be. So you can then go and draw those in. So I know that's going to be there. So I can, let's see, I probably want like a pen shape. So I can go ahead and, so I had a character here, I could go ahead and put in an E shape there. Sorry, I'm working on a touchpad. It's, what I'm getting at anyways. I don't have my tablet attached up. All right, so that's the basic idea of the exposure sheet. Now, there's one other thing I didn't talk about, and that is the ability to add comments. And just like we were able to make these little drawings here, we can also go in and say, well, at frame 10, we want to say, start the arm motion. And that's just a little comment we add to ourselves. And that's very useful. And as we step through that, now you see when we're on that frame, you'll see that note pop up right there. And that's it's very useful when you're animating. So you can just say put this down here maybe, and you can be working on your shot and you'll have this to look at the whole time. And that's basically it for the exposure sheet. I mean, it's a very simple tool. Animation can be kind of complicated sounding, but once you've done this 2 or 3 times, it becomes second nature. There was really nothing mysterious about breaking words down into phonemes. It's just, there's probably some tutorials out there. You can just Google it. Once you've done it, it's like a bicycle. So thanks for watching. This is Howler 2019 build. I don't know, 160 build 61, I think. Some changes coming in the next build. If you haven't gotten it already. And thanks for watching, and TTFN.